If you've ever driven from California to Vegas, you've probably seen Primm. It's that little cluster of casinos right at the state line. Buffalo Bills with the big neon bison, Whiskey Pete's with the castle, and Primm Valley with the outlet mall attached. For a long time, this was the first real taste of Nevada, the gateway to gambling, the promise of what awaited just 35 miles down the road in Las Vegas. But things have changed a lot. Buffalo Bills just shut down regular operations after 31 years. The sign is still glowing for now, but the hotel, casino, and restaurants are basically only opening when there's a concert or a special event. Whiskey Pete's, the other big property in Primm, already closed late last year. That leaves Primm Valley as the only casino running full-time. Today we're going to explore the complete story of Primm, Nevada, from its boom to its bust, and what might lie ahead. This is a story about changing times, shifting economies, and how a place that once seemed unstoppable could find itself struggling to survive. The early history of Primm. To understand what's happening now, we need to go back to the beginning. The area that would become Primm was originally called State Line, which makes sense given its location right where California meets Nevada. But the real story starts with a man named Ernest J. Primm, who opened the first gas station here back in 1923. This wasn't just any gas station. It was positioned perfectly to catch travelers making the long, dusty drive between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. Back then, this stretch of desert was unforgiving. There were no rest stops, no convenience stores, just miles and miles of empty road. Primm's gas station became a lifeline, but Ernest Primm knew something else. Nevada allowed gambling, and California didn't. That simple fact created an opportunity. By the 1950s, small casinos started popping up at the state line. They weren't fancy, just small gambling halls where Californians could pull a few slot machines before heading home. The real transformation came in the 1990s when Primm companies, founded by Ernest Primm's descendants, decided to go big. They envisioned something much larger than a roadside stop. They wanted to create a destination, a mini Vegas right at the border. And for a while, that vision worked. The Golden Era, the 1990s. Back in the 90s, Primm was a destination on its own, and Buffalo Bills was the crown jewel. When it opened in 1994, it was unlike anything else at the border. This wasn't just a casino, it was an experience. The Desperado roller coaster was one of the tallest and fastest in the world when it opened. At 209 feet tall with a first drop of 225 feet, riders experienced up to 4 Gs during the ride. For perspective, that's the same Force Fighter pilot's experience. The coaster reached speeds of 80 miles per hour, and at one point in time, it was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's tallest roller coaster in 1996. One really cool part about the coaster's track was that it ran through the casino interior, making the ride visually connected to the building. You could be sitting at a slot machine and suddenly hear the screams of riders passing overhead. It created this incredible energy that made the whole place feel alive. Unfortunately, we can't get into the building right now to see this since it's closed. In addition to the roller coaster, there was also a log flume ride called the Turbo Drop, which also shut down years ago. Buffalo Bills itself had an Old West theme throughout, with rustic decor, Western-style signage, and even animatronic displays. There was also a 6,500-seat arena called Star of the Desert used for concerts and events, which apparently will still remain open during special events throughout the year. The property also had over 1,200 hotel rooms, multiple restaurants including a steakhouse and buffet, and a massive casino floor. For families coming in from Southern California, it was a cheaper, easier stop than Las Vegas. Parents could gamble, kids could ride the coaster, and everyone could grab a meal without dealing with strip traffic. Whiskey Pete's, which opened in 1977, had its own personality. Named after a moonshine-running prospector named Pete McIntyre, the property had a more rugged outlaw theme. It was famous for displaying the actual bullet-riddled Bonnie and Clyde death car, which we'll talk more about later. Primm Valley Resort, which opened in 1997, was positioned as the more upscale option. It had 2 golf courses designed by Tom Fazio, a luxury spa, and a massive outlet mall that featured high-end brands. At its peak, Primm was pulling in millions of visitors annually. Tour buses from Los Angeles made regular stops. Families planned weekend trips. The town had about 1,000 residents who worked in the casinos, hotels, and shops. I also discovered a little neighborhood called Desert Oasis Apartments, located right next to Buffalo Bills. It also had a tiny desert oasis market, which I checked out, serving up its locals there. This community existed entirely to support the casino industry. Exploring Primm Valley today. I saw through my research
If
that
you've ever
management is
driven from
focusing their
California to
operations on
Vegas,
Primm
you've
Valley
probably
Resort.
seen Primm.
Now, while I was
Once of
exploring the
example, the
property,
two
you could
best
see
had
many
higher
rooms
thought by
full of old
Interstate Primm
chairs and
washed
different slot
sometime.
machines that
You all
weren't being
seen
used
up
anymore.
today.
It's like walking through a time capsule of Nevada gaming history. Machines from different eras just sitting there, collecting dust. The property has a very weird backrooms feel to it, like it should be busy, but there's no one here. The hallways are long and empty. The carpet patterns, which once felt vibrant and exciting, now just emphasize the emptiness. You walk past closed restaurants, shuttered bars, and conference rooms that haven't seen a meeting in years. A lot of the property is still unusable at this point, but they did reopen the saloon and a couple other venues that you can go eat at and get some drinks. The staff who remain are friendly but clearly stretched thin, trying to maintain this massive property with a fraction of the workforce it once had. There were many old signs that looked very eerie throughout. Neon that hasn't been lit in years, directional signs pointing to closed amenities, promotional posters for events that happened a decade ago. The casino floor has also changed since I was last here, and although it was pretty empty when I visited, you could tell that they've done some renovations to the place. They've consolidated the gaming area, removed outdated machines, and tried to make the space feel less empty by using partitions and new lighting. But you can still sense the scale of what this place used to be. You can still see the bullet-riddled Bonnie and Clyde death car on exhibit at Primm Valley Resort. If you look at the car closely, you can see over 100 bullet holes from the 1934 ambush that killed the infamous outlaws. This car has been moved around over the years. It used to be at Whiskey Pete's. It then moved to Primm Valley. Then it moved to Buffalo Bills and once again moved back to Primm Valley. Each move reflects the shifting fortunes of these properties. Whoever had the most foot traffic got the famous car. It's a very cool little exhibit and probably one of the most historically significant artifacts in any Nevada casino outside of Las Vegas. The decline. What went wrong? The town has been on a slow decline for years, but several factors accelerated the collapse. First, COVID shut down everything in 2020. And while Primm reopened later, it never really recovered. The pandemic changed travel patterns, reduced discretionary spending, and simply broke the habit for many people who used to stop regularly. But the problem started well before COVID. At the same time Primm was declining, tribal casinos in California kept growing. Those tribal casinos are closer to Los Angeles and a lot more convenient than driving all the way out to Primm. Why drive an hour into the desert when you can gamble 20 minutes from your house? California now has dozens of tribal casinos, many of them offering the same amenities as Nevada casinos. Luxury hotels, celebrity chef restaurants, concert venues, and even some with high-limit rooms. The convenience factor is huge. You can go after work, spend a few hours, and be home by midnight. That's impossible with Primm. The outlet mall attached to Primm Valley was once packed with big brands like Neiman Marcus, Coach, and Fendi. Shoppers would combine gambling with discount shopping, making it a full-day trip. Today, there's basically one thrift store left. By 2018, it was already more than half empty, and now it's basically abandoned. I've been inside the mall in the past, and it's full of unique and very weird-looking art. Colorful murals, sculptures, decorative elements that were probably commissioned when the mall was thriving. But today, all you can see are the murals on the outside of it. The interior is locked up, a ghost mall in every sense of the word. The collapse of retail malls nationwide also played a role. Even if Primm had remained popular, the rise of online shopping killed outlet malls everywhere. Why drive to Primm for discounts when you can get better deals on Amazon with free shipping? What makes the situation tougher is that Las Vegas is only 35 miles away. So if you're already that close, why stop at Primm when you can just go straight to the Strip? That's been the real problem. Primm exists in a strange middle ground, too far from Los Angeles to be convenient, too close to Las Vegas to be necessary. In the 1990s, that 35-mile buffer felt significant. Roads were slower, Las Vegas was smaller, and Primm offered something different. But as Las Vegas expanded and highways improved, that buffer disappeared. Now you can see the Vegas skyline from parts of Primm. It's literally on the horizon, beckoning travelers to skip the border stop and go for the real thing. There just aren't enough gamblers or shoppers to keep 3 casinos alive out here anymore. The market contracted, and Primm found itself with too much supply and not enough demand. The future Primm 2.0. There is a plan to try to bring Primm back. Affinity Gaming, the company that runs the casinos, is calling it Primm 2.0. They're talking about upgrades to the Primm Valley Resort, new restaurants, a revamped truck stop, and even a brand new $4 million marquee that would be visible from miles away on the interstate.
If you've ever
The
driven from
strategy seems to be
California to
focusing
Vegas,
resources on
you've
one
probably
strong
seen
property
Primm.
rather than
Once of
spreading
example,
thin
the two
across 3
best had
struggling
higher
ones.
thought by Interstate
They're
Primm
betting
washed
that by
sometime.
consolidating
You all
operations,
see nucked
improving
today.
amenities, and creating a modern experience, they can recapture some of that lost traffic. Plus, with a new airport planned nearby in the late 2030s called the Avanpa Valley Airport, they're hoping Primm can become a worthwhile stop again. This airport would serve the southern Nevada region and potentially bring a new wave of tourists who might use Primm as a base for exploring the area. Some analysts are skeptical. Airports take years to develop, and even if it opens, there's no guarantee it will drive traffic to Primm's casinos. Others point to the success of places like Jean, Nevada, another border town that has struggled similarly. But there's also cautious optimism. Nevada's gaming industry has proven resilient before. Downtown Las Vegas was left for dead in the 1990s, and now it's experiencing a renaissance. Maybe Primm can find a niche, perhaps as a motorsports destination, given the nearby racing facilities, or as a more affordable alternative for budget-conscious travelers. The key will be differentiation. Primm needs to offer something Las Vegas doesn't, whether that's lower prices, unique attractions, or a different kind of experience. The roller coaster strategy worked in the 90s. What's the equivalent today? Whether that actually happens, who knows? The casino industry is notoriously unpredictable. Billion-dollar resorts have failed. Small properties have thrived. It all comes down to reading the market correctly and adapting to changing consumer preferences. For now, Primm is more of a ghost of what it used to be. If you grew up stopping there, riding the coaster, or hitting the outlets, it's kind of sad to see. But it's also a reminder of how fast the casino industry can change in Nevada. Primm represents a specific moment in time, when border casinos could thrive, when outlet malls were destinations, when families took road trips and made unexpected stops. That world is fading, replaced by one where convenience, online shopping, and destination resorts dominate. But Nevada has surprised us before. Maybe Primm 2.0 will work, maybe this town will find a second act, or maybe it will remain a curiosity, a place people pass on their way to somewhere else, a reminder of boom and bust in the desert. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.